Early in the morning, Josh wakes up. Then he makes his bed, but feels very tired. So he makes a coffee, and then begins to film his review. Alright, so it's been a while since I've done any DC reviews, and the next one that I was meant to review was the Batman TV series. I've already reviewed the movie. If you want to go check that review out, link up the top. And like the movie, this show is very, very comical. It does not take itself seriously at all, and it doesn't want you to take it seriously either. It's not concerned with telling a dark or gritty story. It just wants to have fun, like the film, and it's actually begging to be mocked. I mean, the first episode has Batman dancing in that iconic scene. That's the heights we are reaching with this show. The villains are just the best as well. We've got Cesar Romero's Joker, Frank Gorshin's Riddler, George Sanders' Mr. Freeze, and Burgess Meredith's Penguin. Yeah, that Burgess Meredith. My favorite one, though, would have to be Frank's Riddler. He was really charismatic and fun. I don't know, like, he injected so much energy, and I will never forget his laugh. To be honest, quite a few times when I'm hearing the Riddler on the phone, it sounds like I'm actually calling him, but when I'm hearing the Riddler's voice talking to Commissioner Gordon or Batman over the phone, and he does his laugh, it did sound a bit like the Joker, so at times I got his laugh confused. But Frank's Riddler is by far my favorite character in this. You'd think it'd be the Joker because of how well Cesar Romero does his Joker, but for me, the Riddler was my favorite. I mean, not that any of these Riddlers are really the best iterations, but of the live action iterations of the Riddler that we have, and that's not a lot, this one I really did like, and Jim Carrey's Riddler I liked as well. Both comical versions of the Riddler. Like, they're not serious at all. They're not the Riddler from The Batman. They're Riddler as you know from the 60s. The show has some really bad ADR though, let me tell you. See, I'm gonna beat you, I'm gonna fight you. Seeing as I mentioned him, Commissioner Gordon was really good in this show, actually. He was very comic accurate and just an overall good character to the show. He actually, participates in the detective work that goes on between Batman and the police. Unlike Burton's Batman,
we're going to have to solve a case ourselves.
When I was a kid, I grew up with the Burton Batman films. I did not grow up with this Batman, as I've stated before. But I never could, for the life of me, remember Jim Gordon whenever I went back to watch those Burton films, because he never actually did anything. All he did was turn on the bat signal, and that's about it. This show, which came out before that, actually had Batman and Gordon doing a lot more together. And seeing as I didn't grow up with this version of Batman, I was thoroughly surprised and happy to see that. And it just makes me question why the hell they didn't do that in the Burton films. Why didn't they have Gordon be more involved with Batman? Not romantically, of course. Also, another thing that this show does really well is it depicting the relationship between Bruce Wayne and Dick Grayson. I have to bring this up because it's really well done in that there's a lot of banter between them. There's moments where you just see them just have a conversation in their suits. It makes it believable for a show that is so over the top and ridiculous, and it doesn't want you to take it seriously. However, I was invested in the relationship between Bruce Wayne and Dick Grayson. It was done good. And also, people die in this show as well, which I was not expecting for a show like this, because it's essentially made for kids. It's essentially a Saturday morning cartoon, but made live action. That's pretty much what it is, and people die. I mean, watching Batman the animated series, I'm not too surprised by that. I mean, I appreciate it, but when I jump over to this, I'm not expecting to see people just die, but, okay, people die. Death is a part of life, kids. Just get used to it. Now, to be honest, you can't binge this show like, today's entertainment. It's not meant for that. It's this entire show is specifically designed just to watch one episode a week. Trust me, I tried binging it, couldn't. I had to take my time with it because the formula, we'll get into the formula a bit later, but the formula in a nutshell is very repetitive. However, there are some episodes that I thoroughly enjoyed because it went slightly against the formula. And one of those episodes, or arcs, because every episode has a part 2. So there's always a 2-episode arc in the show. The one that I loved the most of all was, can't remember what it was called, but it was the one that focused on this new villain called Zelda. Now, she's breaking into Gotham's banks. Very standard for a Batman show. At first, you think she's just this standard villain, but as the episode goes along, you're not quite sure if she's actually a standard villain. You're not quite sure if she's being coaxed into it, or if she's doing it because she's been forced to, or if she wants to do it. You're not entirely sure. So, like, you're left with this question that you're asking yourself, is she doing this because she wants to, or is she... Why? Why is she doing this? And for the most part in this show, the villains are just doing it for villainous things, but this one, like I said, went against the formula just a little bit, and when she takes one of our characters hostage, a character that you would not expect her to take hostage, because usually it's like Commissioner Gordon or Batman or Robin or whatever, and usually they find a way to get out of it. But the character that she took hostage was not who I was expecting, and even then, I feel somewhat empathetic for her character, because if you've watched this 2-episode arc, she was actually lied to, and she's only acting out as a result of her being lied to. She's acting under the belief that what she's been told is true. At that point, you can't really, you can blame her for what she's doing, but you kind of understand where she's coming from, because again, in the back of your head, you're asking yourself, is she doing this because she wants to, or is she being forced to? Like, does she literally have no other choice but to go down this criminal path? And then there's a great scene at the end of these 2 episodes where she gets handcuffed by Batman and you see a tear down her eye. And Robin thinks that it's a fake tear, because he's just seen everything black and white. But Batman sees and he says, nope, it's a real tear. And even still, I don't know if she wanted to or not. So even after these 2 episodes, I still don't know if she was doing it because she wanted to or because she was being forced to, which is what makes me love this even more, because you don't know, and by the end, it doesn't tell you. So it leaves you off with that, which is great. I love anything that ends ambiguously. I love. That got really deep for 2 episodes of this show, but I really liked it. The show does have some good moments in it. And as I said, the formula, it gets very repetitive, but in saying that, it is interesting seeing Batman, Robin, and Gordon have to solve these mysteries, because even though they're going to solve it, you don't always know how they're going to do it, which is sometimes where this show, really gets you. And to be honest, it can be, ridiculous. It can be ridiculous because it's always something named, the Bat Monitor or the Bat Scanner or Bat Gas. I don't know. I draw the line at Bat Gas. But, there were moments throughout the show where it had me in its grasp, where I was interested. I was interested to see how they were going to solve this mystery. But like I said, the formula gets repetitive, it gets tiresome, because it's going to end the same way. It's always going to end the same way. I want to stand here and say, this show is worse because of that. Like, it's not a good show because of that. But then again, like Superman the movie with Christopher Reeve, I have to remember the time period that this came out in, and the audience that it was targeted for is not like today's entertainment. This is not the Batman of today. This is the Batman of the 1960s. So don't expect anything truly profound. Like, this is not that type of Batman. Anyway, I have to say, Batgirl in this show, I really liked her too. And she was a comic accurate Batgirl. She was not the Batgirl of whatever the fuck that is, but it is kind of sad that this is the only other live action iteration of Batgirl. Sure, we've had Barbara Gordon in Birds of Prey, I think, and Titans, but we've never actually seen Batgirl in live action too often. And the fact that they cancelled her solo film, like, what the fuck? I just hope that they cancelled that movie because it was so bad that they just couldn't show it. I hope that was the case. If not, if it was just going to be like a standard, like a kind of like a mediocre movie, why not release it anyway? Anyway, that's my review for Batman, the TV series. To be honest, guys, I'm glad I watched it because even though I couldn't binge it, I didn't feel like I wasted my time with it, to be honest, because it was entertaining and it did have moments of, great entertainment for what it is. And with that said, I will see you in my next DC related review. However, I don't know what that'll be, to be honest. But I'll see you in that review. So I have not reviewed I gotta start that again. That was shit. Where is this review heading? Link up there in the top left, right corner. From your perspective, it's my left. Anyway, that's my review for Batman, what year did it come out? 1966? I don't know.